Hello everyone! Today I'm going to build the pirate town and finish up the build exercise for my Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Here are some screenshots of the town from the actual Pirates of the Caribbean ride in Disneyland. These are scenes that you would see as your boat takes you down the canal through town. Many of the scenes, like this one, where they're dunking the mayor in the well, I couldn't figure out how to recreate in the toy box in a way that did justice to the original scene, so I chose not to try to recreate these scenes, and instead I focused on trying to recapture the look of the town. And as I said in an earlier episode, I chose to make this an interactive experience rather than a boat ride, so I didn't build a canal because we don't need it. There were arched bridges over the canal like this one, and we don't need bridges if we don't have a canal, so I didn't build that either. But we do have a pirate building with an arch like this, so I used that for the entrance into town. So this is what guided my build. I'm just trying to capture the look of the pirate town without trying to recreate specific scenes. So as we begin, we're in the front of the fort, and we're going to start over here at this ramp, which is the ramp that takes you up to the entrance. And we're going to begin with this building from the Pirates playset theme. And I'm going to place 2 of these. I'm spinning that around to hide that door. And then we'll place one of these here like this. We'll flip it around to put that door there. Alright, and let's just go ahead and put the buildings in, and we'll come back and put the roofs in a little bit later. So we're going to put 3 of these in here like this, and then another one of these, and we can leave the door facing out this time. And we'll put this right up against the edge of the terrain there like that. And once again, 2 of these. And we'll place one of these over here. It doesn't really matter. That's probably our best orientation. And we'll put that there like that. And in a minute, I'll come back over here to that side and continue building that. But let's come up here to this corner now. We're going to put this building right here on the corner, and I'm going to spin it around to hide that door. We'll put 2 of them there like that. And then I think we'll hide that door like this. Although I guess it doesn't really matter. But it might look kind of weird if we have 2 doors out here looking the same. So we'll put that there like that. And then we'll grab this building here and put this down on the base like that. This one here like that. And then we'll just kind of put a row of these across here. If we spin this around with that door out there like that, then we have a door up there, which is kind of nice at that level. So I like that. Let's see. So that takes care of that. And then let's go ahead and keep going on the side over here. So we'll place this here. We'll make sure any doors up there are kind of hidden. And we want a mix of these buildings just so there's a lot of nice different heights going on here. Put that one there like that. Alright. So then this is going to sit out on the end of this. We'll spin it around. We'll take this all the way over. So that does line up with that building there. So that's good. And then this will sit here, and notice it doesn't come all the way out to the edge, and that's fine. Alright, so there are the buildings for town. And now we'll add the roof tops on. And let me back up my screen grabs here. Okay. Make sure I get these lined up on here this time. And at this point, we're just covering up the rooftops and trying to do so in a way that makes sense. So you don't want to put like that and like that, because that doesn't really make sense. Nobody would build the buildings that way. But now this one over here, for example, we could tip this one like that just to mix things up a little bit. That way it's not quite so redundant. Alrighty, and then put that one up there like that. For something like this, we could use the wider roof. And that looks pretty good. And then for this one down here, and put one in like that. So there we go. There are the buildings for the town. And that looks pretty decent. We'll add a tower in here, and we'll put it right on that little spot to cover up that terrain seam, because I think that would be good. And then we can add some details. So we have these balconies, which can be kind of nice. This kind of gives you a way to get up to that door that makes sense instead of having a floating door. And it adds some nice little detail, so that's good. We can do something similar over here. And over here. So that's nice. And we can add a few other little decorations too, like this little building nook. We can put this in a few places. We don't want to use a lot of them, but it can be helpful to try to mix things up a little bit. So maybe put one over here. Put one up here to cover up that door. So that's not looking weird, having that door floating up there. And I don't see any others on these other buildings. We are going to put another one of these out over here, though. So I'll put that up there like that. Alright, so there is the entrance to our pirate town. Okay, now the docks are going to be over there, so we're going to create a little path that will lead us over to that point. And to do that, we're going to use the cobblestone path pieces. We'll start with this long one. I'm going to spin this around, and we're going to put it just like you see there. We're going to place two of them. So I think that's good. And then we'll put another one over here, like so. Oops. And we'll just run a bunch of these down this way. And let me see. Just trying to count how many I need here. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. Oops. Like that. And then this turns and goes towards the docks. And flip those around so they're not so repetitive. And then we have a couple of outlying buildings here. These are maybe used for storage or what have you. So we'll place the door there on this one, like so. And let me see, does this come right up to the edge? Yes, it does. Right up to the edge of the brick, like that. Okay. And then over here, yep, flip that around. We're going to place another one of these. We're going to go back a couple nudges, like that. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. It's about the same distance away from the brick. So like that. We'll use this to plug the gap back here. So actually, let's go ahead and slide this all the way over. Like that. And as I'm looking at this, this brick actually should have been over. Because I put the terrain seam in the middle so that the brick kind of obscures that a little bit. And we'll bring this over. Just creating some little paths here. And then over here, we'll add in a couple of those. Okay, so there's our little path to get into the village. We'll add some other decorations around here in a little while. All right. Now, along this edge, we need the dock, and we need to do something so that doesn't look so flat. And so let's grab our dock pieces here. We're going to put those right off the end here like that. Flip that around so it's not so repetitive. And that'll do quite nicely. I'm going to come over here and pick up this terrain piece to get us to that part of the terrain drawer. And then we're going to use this version, that version actually. So we'll come down here to the end, flip this around and put one of these here on the end of this block. that, except we'll move it over just a tad. And we're going to set the theme on this to be the Buried Treasures theme. So we want to kind of make this look a little less blocky and a little bit more natural. So we'll put some of these pieces in here. Going to add a few like this one here. Put that in there like that. Maybe put one over here. Something like that. So that's good. And we'll put another one of these around the side over here. We don't have to go all the way down the shore, but just so that when we're approaching with the pirate ship, it doesn't look blocky on the end of that. If you have the memory, though, by all means, you can take a bunch of these down here a little further. But I'm trying to conserve memory, so that's all I'm going to do there. And then we need some roofs on these buildings, by the way. I just realized I forgot to do that. And I had another one of these over here like that. Okay, so there is the edge of that, and that looks pretty decent. All right, next thing I want to do is we have an island out here that sits next to the pirate ship. This is how the player boards the ship. And so let me come over here and grab my screen grab for this. Might be easiest to come pick one of these pieces up here. I'll grab this one because this isn't going to be likely to collide with anything. We're going to put some spacing blocks in here to make sure we get this little island in the right spot. And this is important because the player is going to need to be able to land on this island and get on the pirate ship, so we don't want to have any gaps. So we're going to put two of these here, spin this around, and we're going to run a row of these down this way. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with a terrain cube on the end. All right. So that's what we have there. And then one more time, I'm going to come over here and pick this piece up and put it down. And we're going to use this for part of the island. And this is going to sit on the end of this block just like that. And then this piece will sit right on the end of that. Like that. Okay? So now we can take these spacers out. And there's the little island that sits next to the pirate ship. And it's in the right spot. Okay, and I believe that is just about everything for the major details. One more thing I want to do. So we're going to go up to the, I think it's the gameplay toys. Oh, platforming toys. We're going to put in a scalable barrier block here. And the reason we're doing this is primarily because this is going to help the boat as it comes down out of the waterfall over there across the way. And let me make sure I've got this in the right spot here. Hold on a second. I need to find that screen grab. Yeah. That's one of them I was looking for. Okay. So let me just drop this here for the moment and go back to the terrain. And it's going to be easier to pick this up and put it down. We're going to place a terrain cube right here off the end of that. I can't go any further that way because it hits this block. Alright, so our scalable barrier block is going to line up with the bottom of that. And notice I've got the little yellow dot down here in the corner below it. And we're going to grab this one up on this end of it. If I can get to it, there we go. And we'll pick that up, and we're going to stretch this all the way across this thing. And I need to make sure this goes back under here far enough that we're underneath that waterfall. And then all the way over to the end. Like that. Okay. And while we have this selected, let's open up the logic menu, go into properties, and turn off the collision effect. So this serves two purposes. The first purpose is when the player lands on the island and they're trying to get on the pirate ship. If they miss the rope, we don't want them plummeting to their deaths. That would be bad. The second thing this does is it provides a surface for the vehicle to ride on. And that's necessary, as you'll see next time, because we're going to be using the driving physics, which means it's not going to follow that path directly. And so if we don't have this block down here, when the boat, the log ride boat, comes off the end of that waterfall, it'll just plummet. And so this gives us something for the boat to ride on. And having something for the boat to ride on, it'll put the water effect underneath the boat too, which looks really good as it comes out here, because it actually looks like it's going through the water that's down here on the sky dome. So that looks really good. Alright, so at this point, I'm actually going to leave this little terrain block because we're going to need that next time. So don't take this little spacer out just yet. So at this point, I'm going to go offline and add all of the remaining trees and plant clusters, because that's going to take some time, and frankly, it would make for a much longer and much more boring video to watch me place all of these things. You just need to see the end result. So let me do this work offline, and then I'll be back in a moment to show you the completed build. Okay, I am back, and I've placed all of the remaining trees and plants. So let me show you what I've got, and then we'll wrap up this episode. So all of these plants, many of them, are the first 9 pieces in the plants drawer. They're the customizable plant clusters. And these are the pieces I've used. You can stop this video along the way and kind of look at the terrain seams and the different buildings and stuff around them and see how they're placed. This one here is what you saw in a previous episode, a couple of episodes ago. It's Fantasy Terrain 3, and I've styled it for the Pirates theme. And notice where the little palm is on that. Down here, for example, in this corner. So you can kind of see how that's rotated. And you can look and see how these plants are placed. I customized this piece already. You've seen that before, so I could fit it underneath this little piece. That is not this piece, but the one next to it. In other words, that one. And of course, I've got some standalone palms in here too. These are also from the plants drawer, as you saw a couple of episodes ago. So take note of those. And let me show you the plants first. Again, these are the Fantasy 3. Notice there's a gap here between those and this terrain piece here. And then we have 2 of them wide over here. And I'll try to get you a look at that. You can kind of see how those palms are placed on those things. If I can get in there to see, it doesn't really matter the orientation of those. You just don't want them all oriented the same way. two of these plants back to back over here. The ones with the flat edge. Fantasy 2, I believe it is. Fantasy Terrain 2. And I placed a couple of these little pieces here from the cobblestone drawer, just so that doesn't look quite so square. I put one on either side. And we also have these little lanterns. If I can select that silly thing. Here we go. That is from the decorations drawer. There's one on either side of the cobblestone. The sign is right next to that in the decorations drawer. So is this sign. And then I use the farmland, the farm brick. Out of Building Sets Group 4 to build a little enclosed area here. Filled it in with some crates from the decorations drawer. These are from the Pirates of the Caribbean set, as well as some barrels. You can see how those are placed. Kind of a little freight storage area on side of the docks here. This is also from the decorations drawer. Pirate street lamp. Another palm standalone. This is the first piece out of the plants drawer that's customizable with a palm next to that. And then you can see how these are all placed. These back to back with another rotated palm here. All right. Now along the fort, I've got a few little plants that are placed like so. You can kind of look at the terrain below and the wall seams here to kind of see where to place those. Again, the exact placement doesn't really matter. And then over here inside the back of the fort, this is what we have. Try to get you a good look at this. Some more standalone palms, and then this is the little pirate's bush. I got a couple of these over here. Just kind of fill in the gaps with something a little different there. That helps this area not look quite so sandy and empty. The sandy area to look so empty. All right, up on top, got more of those trees. Again, look at the seams on the terrain. You can see exactly where to place those. And then over here, I placed the large pirate's tree like that. Place these around the perimeter. One over here on the side. It just creates a nice little canopy that overhangs this area below. A couple of these back over here, just so it doesn't look so flat when you're down below. That'll add some foliage, as you'll see in a minute. Little standalone palm. A couple little standalone palms over here. And then this area, just filling this in with some large pirate trees. And you can fit these in however you can. I started over on this end and just started placing these across here. This one sits back a little bit, then I rotated it so that it's not so repetitive. I place the large ones in here, and then I fit some of these in. And when you customize them, they look like this. And it just helps it to look not so spacious up there. From the deck of the pirate ship, it looks like there's a lot of green foliage up there, even though when you're looking at it from up here, there really isn't. And then a few more pirate trees in the back behind those, just to add a little depth. Alright, so that's everything that I did. And we can come over here now to these trees and style them. So we'll open the styling menu, go down to the Pirates theme, and I'm going to theme all. Are you sure? Yes. And that's what you end up with. Notice I had to take out that little piece of terrain over here. This little piece. Because the bounding box on this just would not let me sit that plant cluster in there along with that terrain piece. And I really wanted this piece to help break up that brick. It needed it, so I took the little terrain piece there out, and so this is flat. I think that's okay. And that looks just really, really good once everything is styled. Kind of feels like you're coming off of the docks through a little bit of a jungle path and then into town. And you got a little bit of greenery here in town to help break that up. And then you're coming up over here, and those palms, when you're up here, just looks really good. And one thing I see that I forgot to do, we'll go ahead and add in while I'm right here, is we're going to put a railing on this thing so it's not quite so dangerous looking. There should be a barrier up here. So we can put that along there. Alternatively, if you don't like that, you can use this little crenellation that we used last time, but since this isn't really part of the fort, I thought this was a little bit better, and it adds a little variety here. And so that just all looks really, really good. And you can see when you're over here, down below, that having the little bit of greenery up there besides those trees helps that look much better. And once you style this, you might be able to move this a little bit closer to that tree, those tree roots, which I could not do before I styled it. So that helps a lot. So that when you're down here, again, it looks like there's more foliage up there than there really is. That just helps it not look so empty. And with that, the build exercise for this toy box is done. Next time I'll show you how to hook up the logic for the entire ride. It's pretty easy, and I think I can do it all in one episode. Before you go, please hit the like button if you enjoyed my video today, and leave a comment to let me know what you think of this build now that it's finished. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, just click my photo in the lower right corner of this video. You can also follow me on my blog. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.